Every act of destruction has a repercussion. Karn, Silver Golem, flavor text of Aftershock. When the planeswalker Urza was first experimenting with the possibility of time travel, he considered, but the warning came too late, for Kirik had already laid waste, enduring Teferi's bullying for some time. Eventually learned that Silver was able to survive the process. The Academy was destroyed completely. Joyra is my friend. Joyra is my friend. It had taken many years of arranging the proper marriages and crossbreeding, but Urza's Bloodlines project was finally starting to show true promise. The Planeswalker saw the Capuchin clan of Benalia as the one most likely to produce the hero he needed to properly wield the legacy, and thus had great interest in securing their safety. To protect the progeny of this line, Urza gifted to the Capuchins Karn, a golem made of silver that he created. Karn was tasked with protecting the Capuchins, and one day, when most of the family was slain in a Phyrexian attack, the golem was able to save a young boy, Gerrard, and carry him away from danger. Karn took the boy all the way to Jamora, to Sidar Kondo, a warlord in the region. Sidar was in secret an ally of Urza's, and adopted Gerrard, raising him alongside his own son, Vuel. While Gerrard was raised by Kondo, Karn was ever present, watching over and protecting the boy as instructed. The golem rarely had cause for concern, however. Jamora seemed safe. No Phyrexian attack came against Kondo's tribe, and Gerrard was growing up to be a strong young man. These peaceful days came to an end when Vuel failed his rite of passage, needing to be saved by Gerrard. This loss and humiliation turned Vuel against his family, against Gerrard and his father. After Gerrard had left the tribe to go train under Multani, Vuel stole the pieces of the legacy Gerrard owned at the time, and Karn went to retrieve them. In the process, Vuel tricked Karn into killing an innocent man. The shocked golem barely had time to process what happened before Vuel used an artifact known as the Touchstone to immobilize Karn, sending him into stasis. When the golem was next activated, he was standing in the hold of the skyship Weatherlight. At some point after Gerrard had initially left the crew, Karn was discovered by the captain, Sisse, and brought on board as a piece of the legacy, staying inert below deck. When Gerrard rejoined the crew, he found the golem, bringing Karn out of stasis thanks to his own innate skills in artifice. With the memory of his accidental murder fresh in his mind, the very first thing Karn did upon awakening was swear an oath of pacifism. Never again would he become violent, for the gift of life was too precious for him to take away. This oath of pacifism would come into play far quicker than would be convenient. During the Weatherlight's first battle against the Predator, Karn, who was unwilling to fight, even to defend himself, was taken alongside the other legacy artifacts by Moggs onto Greven's ship. After the battle, he was taken into Volrath's stronghold. Here, Volrath, in actuality a now Phyrexian Vuel, took great delight in tormenting the golem. Knowing the grief that killing brought to Karn, Volrath placed the silver golem into a cage that constantly shifted. Into this cage would be poured a steady supply of Moggs that Karn would crush under his great weight as the cage moved. This emotional torment went on for some time until Karn was, ultimately, rescued by Gerrard. As the crew was making their escape from the stronghold, Karn split off from the rest, knowing that he had a mission to fulfill, regardless of the danger. The Silver Golem made his way into the Sliver Hive, within which sat the legacy artifacts Volrath had stolen, as well as new pieces of artifice compatible with the legacy. The Evankar had placed these artifacts here, believing that the Sliver Queen, the center of the swarm, would protect them. Here, Karn is able to appeal to the Sliver Queen's empathy, convincing her that the legacy is a part of him, just as her children are a part of her. In doing so, he opens up his chest cavity, displaying the space the legacy would be stored in. Moved, the Queen willingly parts with the artifacts, allowing the golem to leave her presence unimpeded. After returning to the crew, Karn installed the Skyshaper, one of the new artifacts he recovered, into the Weatherlight's engines, giving the ship the boost it needed in order to escape wrath. The golem did not have much presence during the Weatherlight's adventures in Mercadia, but almost immediately after they left that world and returned to Dominaria, the Phyrexian invasion had begun. Karn was present for many of the crew's early battles, though he was not much help due to his oath. However, after several run-ins with the Phyrexian general Sabo Tavik, Gerrard was pressed into a corner, the Phyrexian using mind control to subdue Capuchin. Tavok would have taken Gerrard away as a trophy for her master Yawgmoth, but in the fighting, Karn had taken a blow to his head, a blow that damaged a mental cap Urza had placed on the golem's memories. In the span of an instant, Karn remembered his entire life, his creation at the academy, and the students there he had grown close to, Urza's time travel experiments, and the disaster at Teleria. The monsters invading the island, Phyrexians slaughtering everyone they encountered. Karn remembered the suffering, the sorrow, and all the misery Phyrexia would bring. No more. If I must kill the guilty to save the innocent, I will kill. Karn leapt into action, tearing off several of Sabo Tavok's legs, forcing the Phyrexian to flee and, alongside Squee, saving Gerrard from her spell. After the planar overlay and the awakening of the primeval dragons, Daragaz would attack the Weatherlight. Karn, however, is able to reason with the dragon, convincing him to act against his primeval kin, and Daragaz would plunge into a volcano, ending the threat of the primevals by cutting off their connection to one another. Karn then used the knowledge of the Thran Tome to repair the Weatherlight and improve it, and was elated to discover the ship itself had gained some sentience as a result. However, shortly afterwards, Yawgmoth manifested onto Dominaria, and the final battle for the world began. The Weatherlight crew initially sought to use the stored-up white mana from the Null Moon, an ancient Thran creation, to slay Yawgmoth. While this did manage to wound the god of Phyrexia, it failed to perform a lethal blow. Yawgmoth was now a mass of darkness and tentacles, engulfing the Weatherlight and threatening to destroy its crew utterly. When Urza revealed his final plan, he divulged to the others the potential of the legacy and instructed Gerrard in how to use it. Gerrard took out Urza's eyes, the Might Stone and Weak Stone, at long last slaying the Planeswalker. Capuchin then placed these stones into Karn's chest, activating the legacy, an act that took Gerrard's own life. The legacy artifacts resonated as one, surging forth as a light that was channeled through all of them, through Karn, through the Weatherlight itself, causing catastrophic damage to the vessel and utterly annihilating Yawgmoth. And in the same flash of radiance that destroyed Yawgmoth for good, Karn ascended as the first artificial planeswalker. Karn, Silver Golem, first appeared all the way back in Urza's saga, costing 5 generic mana. This legendary artifact creature had 4 power and 4 toughness, but showcasing his famous Oath of Pacifism, whenever he entered combat, he lost 4 power and gained 4 toughness. For 1 mana, Karn had the ability to turn any artifact into a creature with power and toughness equal to its casting cost until the end of turn, reflecting the golem's own skill with Artifice. After ascending as a planeswalker, Karn would go on to create his own artificial world, but that is a story for another time. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like or sharing this video with your friends. If you're a fan of the Weatherlight, its crew, or the Weatherlight saga as a whole, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell. I'll be releasing more videos on this topic. Finally, this video is brought to you by my patrons. If you enjoy my work and would like to support me, head on over to my Patreon. A link to it will be in the description below. Thanks again, and have a great day.